Okay. Hello, music listeners, underground enthusiasts, and people who do not wear matching socks. We're back, once again, with another somewhat late weekly tracks list. I promise one day I will get it done on time. But some tracks came out this week, and I've been kind of trying to alter the format a bit. You know how things go when you're a new content creator, and you try things out initially that you think are working, and they do work, but you're trying to refine them, make them polished and better. So we're going to try to reformat this a little bit. Not much different. Probably won't even be noticeable, but I know it's different. So let's get into it. To start things off, we have birdbay with Throne. We talked a little bit about birdbay on a previous weekly tracks list with the song Ivory Tower Kid, which was my first introduction to birdbay, and it was an initiation that I really enjoyed and had me immediately hooked and watching out for the next release. So luckily, it didn't take too long to get another addition to the discography in the form of Throne, which is an emotionally intense and sonically hard-hitting ambient dark pop track. And I think that my favorite aspect of this track, apart from the instantly memorable hook, is a fantastic portrayal of the process of emotional maturity and the sanctity of personal agency. Exploring the concept of using isolation as a form of comfort, removing oneself from damaging situations to preserve personal security, and viewing detachment from relationships as a way to sort of take control of your life. And all of these messages and themes are delivered with such power and emotion behind the vocals, which are, as they say, top notch. Not bottom notch, not middle notch. We're at the top, baby. birdbay's vocals also have this sort of gold quality with depth and warmth in them that carries them quite a long way, and these passionate vocals shouting on this track work really well with the ambient droning keys floating in the background. Never asking too much from the listener, but rather providing a delicate support under the sharp percussion in birdbay's vocals. I think that birdbay's voice has a unique quality to it that I doubt that I will get bored of anytime soon. Today, we're going to have a lesson on how to use your voice to its maximum potential, and in my lesson plans today, it looks like the homework for the evening is listening to Does It Even Matter by Yoku featuring Riensu. Because this song, acting through the vessel of soft pop with a slight punch to it, has so many instances of ways to use a voice to propel the environment and sound of a song forward. In the hook, Yoku delivers these soft and somewhat jovial vocalizations before each line, layered over each other, panned all over the place. They have defined places in the atmosphere and work so well to build up the design of the track and create an engaging sound. Yoku's relaxed and hushed singing for the main vocals come across as effortless, sort of crooning lightly over the airy and wispy production, and the occasional falsetto, whistling, and background vocals give the song a pretty welcoming energy. It's genuinely impressive. And Riensu's verse is a little closer to the ground, contrasting Yoku's mile-high vocals floating all around the track, and it's a really great addition to the track. In a vacuum, it's clean and well-delivered, with some pretty good writing and mixing, and in the context of the rest of the track, provides a good balance. I love this track. And then we have love-sadKID with Autopilot, a collaborative effort between love-sadKID and Stoic. And before I get into the core of the track, I wanted to say how excited I was to see this song announced, because Stoic is one of my favorite producers, and love-sadKID's rapping immediately seemed perfect for what I'm familiar with hearing from Stoic. So needless to say, I was incredibly excited for this. And well, they did not disappoint, not even a little bit, because the beat on this track is a calming and hypnotic boom bap production with warm and wavy melodies riding under bright vocal chops. It is wonderful. And love-sadKID puts in work on this track, tackling 100 different flows, deliveries, and techniques to make this an incredibly interesting and engaging track. They kick off the track with a steady mid-tempo flow to showcase some intelligent lyrics and rhymes, but waste no time to dive into hyper-paced 100-mile-per-hour flow that unleashes so much information with tight delivery that does not waver. And if that wasn't enough, if you're not satisfied yet, singing is employed for the hook. And I know that we're all familiar with love-sadKID's rapping, but they can sing. They can really sing. It is a fun and confident delivery in every way. This song feels like a flex, in a way. Not due to any sort of cocky or braggadocious lyricism, but rather the technical ability that is being showcased with incredible ease. And then we have Puppet from Skele, and first off, Puppet is a deceptive track. Why? I'm sure you're asking. Because the song is sad, for sure. But I think that in the often grouped together genres of emo, Midwest emo, and emo trap, catchy hooks and vocals are rarely recognized or prioritized, typically associated with poppier, more upbeat tracks. But I mean, this hook is catchy in its own way, because it's easy to latch on to the first listen and it is memorable. In my mind, that qualifies as catchy, despite its downtrodden tone. And over AC and Vito provided production, Skele delivers some pretty vulnerable lyrics about a toxic dynamic where emotional pain inflicted is sometimes a welcome feeling, taking that over essentially nothing at all, and saying that he is the puppet and doesn't care to stop whoever is pulling the strings, crying out that he loves the violence of it. It's a haunting track. And similar to my thoughts on the EP Please that he recently released, it feels like such a harrowing and honest depiction of relationships and emotions that it almost feels wrong to listen to it, like we shouldn't be allowed to. But don't let these comments deter you from doing so, because this song is beautiful. Skele's vocals are ghostly and smooth, delivered with a cadence that really does translate the themes of the track really well. And I think that over the years, my attention given to songs of this genre has lessened significantly, but songs like these somehow always just pull me back in. Then we have a new Scruff song with You Don't Care, featuring Nicopatty. I have not listened to a new Scruff drop in a while. And it's definitely been over a year. However, it is nice to see that the quality has only improved since I last listened. You Don't Care is kind of bedroom pop, kind of hyper pop, and it borrows the best of each respective genre. It has a pleasant bounce to it in the production, as well as some pretty guitar melodies and atmospheric synths that are scattered throughout to give the track a twinkly and angelic atmosphere. I really like the cohesion of all the elements in the track. It feels well structured and thought out. Scruff and Nicopatty's vocals are both pretty good as well, singing relaxed notes about perceived expectations and uncertainty. Overall, the track accomplishes what it set out to do, and has the relaxed and non-demanding energy that I hear a lot in the genre that helps make a compelling, easy listening track. I like it. And then we have Drainpuppet with Castles in the Sky. My initial introduction to Drainpuppet was in the form of a production credit for the recent 84-85 track Scribbles, and I loved the production on that song. It is one of my favorite songs that have dropped this year, so when I came across a solo release from Drainpuppet, I was definitely interested in what I was going to hear, and holy shit, this song is great. It is an electronic trip, and it reminds me so much of the dance and EDM songs that dominated the radio in the late 2000s and the early 2010s in the very best way possible. It has an infectiously fun energy to it, and has buzzing and stuttering synths, shooting the song forward with punchy and dense drums that maintain a steady and hard-hitting tempo. The onslaught of climbing synth melodies and crashing synths hits nostalgia that I had buried deep in my brain. And the clapping section, that's peak electronic. I will not be taking any counter arguments. This is peak. I don't know what it is about this track that has me so infatuated with it. It's not even a sound that is common in my listening rotation, but I cannot help but love it. And the repeated Castles in the Sky lyrics blend in so well with the inspiring, big and broad sound. I know that for some people, this is the primary genre they listen to. But for me, someone who does not devote much time to this sound, this feels special. And then we have Stone Deluxe with Going Global. I have been listening to Stone Deluxe through a couple years and a couple name changes, but the quality has stayed the same, or, even grown for that matter. Earlier tracks like Game Boy Camera and Fear and Loathing in Long Beach were some of the most creative tracks I have ever heard, and Stone Mason is still one of my favorite experimental projects I've heard. And apart from the warbly and unique vocal mixing, one of my favorite aspects of Stone Deluxe's music is the complicated and abstract lyricism. I mean, he wrote these lyrics. And listening to Going Global, the warped and synthetic vocal mix is most definitely still present, but the lyrics are honestly pretty vulnerable and grounded for the most part. Where over this sparkly and futuristic beat, Stone Deluxe talks about goals and loss, detailing the hardship and situation survived up to this point, and the persistence to push forward and grow as a person. And in its lyrics, it is straightforward and honest, and in its sound, it is ethereal and bright, with piercingly bright keys and waving synths. This is a pretty great entry from Stone Deluxe. I like it a lot. But to finish the list off, we have Kogane with repair. The production and instrumentation on this track is beautiful. No other way to put it. It has such an organic and calming energy, at some point reaching an overwhelming point of wonderfully crafted instruments all working together in harmony to deliver fantastic melodies and sounds, and then hitting a reserved and stripped back acoustic sound right after. It is hard for me to describe, and you all know how wordy my videos tend to be, but it sounds like nature. The guitar plucking, clapping, chiming bells all work together so well, and it has a very specific structure, starting with high energy before moving into a stripped back sound, and then releasing a slightly larger and wider energy, and then pulling back again, and the cycle is repeated. And every time the energy breaks through, a new component is added each time, slowly building up the energy between the withdrawn sections. It is genius, and it plays off of emotional response so well, and the singing matches all of these intricacies going on amazingly, following a similar energetic formula. I think that in some way that this song is a representation of the unending human perseverance to find health and security and growth. And that's going to do it for this week's weekly tracks list. You can check out these honorable mentions as well. These are songs that I also really enjoyed listening to this week. And I didn't clarify last week, but I don't think that these are worse than the songs I talked about. It's just that I'm particular with the songs I pick because I feel like that I can have the most to say about them pretty much. But these songs over here are no less quality, I would say. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Did you listen to these songs? Because I did, and I want someone to share the experience with. Don't let me be alone. Catch me in the next video where I decide to not edit out every time I clear my throat due to the high pollen count. Bye.